Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Joanne. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. So no feedback, Karen?
No, actually none. Are you hearing any from us?
Nope. We're good. I had
So
to
no
make it
picture.
live. So
There's your SBA logo.
I
right.
have to get a picture.
You get a picture. There's on the internet. I put your name in and I put SBA, and that's where I saw that you had been in Richmond. Found all kinds of phone links, and then the one terrible picture. And then there's a woman who must be a university president. So she comes up, her picture. She is all duded up with those, the hoods that are beautiful with the colors, and she's got the cap and gown thing on. And I didn't think that was you.
Hey, Karen, do me a favor. Can you mute your
Sure.
microphone while people are coming in?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
So just,
Oh, not this.
yeah.
Okay. Yes, Rich, we know about the height and mic. We just want to make sure you can hear us. Welcome. Come on in. We'll be starting promptly at 12 o'clock. Good morning, William. Thank you for joining. Ellen and Rich. Good morning, Shara, Addie, Tessa, Scott. If everybody could hear me and see the screen okay, just put a 1 in and we'll do another check at the top of the hour. Great. Good morning. We have a lot of people coming in. Good morning, Eric, Brandy, Ramona, Melanie, Erica, Vivian, Alina, Drina, Joy. Toolkit, actually, you will get a replay of the webinar later this evening. Good morning, everyone is coming into the room. We will be starting promptly at 12. If you can see the screen and hear me okay, you can just put 1 in the chat area, which is on your lower left-hand side. Carla, yes, you should be able to hear my voice. If you're having a problem, at the bottom of the screen, there is a reconnect button that's light blue. You might want to reconnect to come back into the room. Oh, great. Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. Bob, Eric, Trinice, Carla, Danielle, Solomon. We have a lot of people joining us today, and we're excited. We're going to have some really good information for you. Good afternoon. Welcome to everyone that's coming into the room. We have a full house today. If you can see the screen and hear me okay, if you can just press 1 for those that are just coming in. Great. Thank you so much. We will be starting in 2 minutes, promptly at the top of the hour. Good afternoon to everyone that is just coming into the room. Want to welcome you. We'll be starting in 1 minute.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Karen Williams from DC SCORE. And Janine, Joanne, and I are here whenever you want to get started.
Okay. I want to make sure everyone can hear me and as well hear Karen and Joanne. Again, if you can just put 1 in the chat area. Okay. My name is Janine Biggins. I'm the host for today's webinar, the All Small Mentor-protege program, and also want to welcome you to Women's History Month as well. If you can see and see the screen and hear me, just put a 1. For little housekeeping, if you have any questions, in the lower right hand of the screen, you can type them in the chat area. In addition, you will receive a copy of the replay later this evening. So in case you have to leave early or you think you might have missed something, you can definitely take a look at the replay later. In addition, Karen and Joanne will be answering questions throughout the presentation and definitely at the end. Okay, seems like everyone can hear and see the screen. Karen, do you want to take it over?
Absolutely. Thank you, Janine, and thank you to everyone who has joined. This is actually our 3rd webinar, and I want to thank Joanne for hosting today. I think what you'll learn is that this All Small Mentor-protege program is a new program that SBA just rolled out in October of 2016. We're going to learn from Joanne about the program and how small businesses can apply. And so with that, let's go to the next slide. I'm Karen Williams. I'm from the DC SCORE office. You can see I'm on the left. Joanne does not have a picture, and I've teased her about that. She's going to get one, aren't you, Joanne?
Yes, I will.
Absolutely. Next slide. Today's webinar is actually sponsored by the DC SCORE office and our local Metropolitan District of the Small Business Administration. We're thrilled to have Joanne with us. She's part of the national SBA team. And we'll learn more about her as we go on. Questions can be submitted either during the session by the chat box that Janine mentioned when we began, or you can follow up with questions to me. My email address is karen.williams@scorevolunteer.org. And as Janine mentioned, each of you will receive a recorded copy of this webinar, and it will actually be posted for your friends and family at the washingtondc.score.org website, so that if you want to refer to it at any time, you can. Next slide, please. Just as a reminder, here in the DC, Virginia, Maryland area, we're part of the SBA Washington Metropolitan Area District. So it's the District of Columbia and all of the surrounding counties. And so if you need any support, it's this Washington Metro Area District that is your SBA office. As I said, Joanne is here today talking about one of SBA's national programs. And so you'll have an opportunity to answer or to ask her any questions. Next slide, please. What we hope to cover today in our session objectives, or what we plan to cover, is to help you develop an understanding of this new SBA program, the All Small Mentor-protege program, and what's required by small businesses to enter this SBA-approved Mentor-protege program. This approval is used by small businesses who are selling to the federal government market. If your business is such that you don't deal with the federal government, this program is not for you. It's focused on those small businesses selling into the federal market. And what we're going to cover is how to move forward after you find out more information about it. Next slide, please. Just a few facts as it relates to government contracting. I mentioned, we're here in the Metro DC area, which is truly a hotbed for federal contracting. But nationwide, less than 5% of all businesses in the United States do business with the federal government. As I think you know, the federal government is the largest buyer of products and services in the world. And in FY14, there was $447 billion that was spent on products and services. You can see the breakdown that most of that goes into the services area with 60%. And another interesting fact, approximately $1 billion in new contracting opportunities are available to be bid on every day. So it's a big market. If you're not into federal contracting and you're a small business owner, it may be something you want to consider for the future. Next slide, please. Continuing on that trend around government contracting, companies are awarded new contracts every day, and approximately 95% of the actual contracts, that's the number, not the contract value, but 95% of federal contracts are awarded to small businesses and medium-sized businesses. And the U.S. government procures services from soup to nuts, everything from food services to janitorial projects to high-end, very complex space flight systems engineering support. But the federal government buys a lot of different products and services. And some of the overarching contracting goals, one of the things that the federal government does is it really focuses on supporting small businesses. And the federal government has established procurement targets such that 23% of every federal dollar is earmarked for small businesses. And I'm happy to report that that goal is achieved. In fact, over the last 2 to 3 years, that goal has been exceeded. And there are subcategories underneath the small business 23% for service disabled veterans, for small disadvantaged businesses, for women-owned businesses, and for hub zones. And again, this is Women's History Month. I'm happy to report that last year, the last federal government fiscal year, was the first time that 5% was achieved. And in fact, it was exceeded. So a lot of opportunities for small businesses and for women-owned small businesses. And as I mentioned previously, the U.S. government is the largest customer in the world in the procurement of products and services. Okay, so with that introduction, we are now going to move into the new SBA's All Small Mentor-protege program. These slides are provided, and our present today is from the Small Business Administration. And so with that, Janine, if you can go to the next slide, I'm going to introduce Joanne Braxton from SBA, who's going to take us through this new program that is just kicked off on October the 1st.
Karen, can you
So
hear me?
next slide. I can.
We had a quick question. I think that was regarding the previous slide. The question was, what if you fall into 2 categories?
That's actually a wonderful thing because then you can bid on both like the women-owned category or the small disadvantaged business. That's actually a plus. It opens up more opportunities.
Okay, great.
Okay, and then if you can go to the next slide, please, Janine. And there's a little bit of a delay. There we go. All right, so with that, Joanne.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the All Small Mentor-protege program webinar. And thank you, Karen, for inviting us in SBA to participate. I am also here with one of my colleagues, Ms. Latrice Andrews, and we come together with a wealth of information and experience and knowledge with SBA. And so I'm been in the Washington headquartered office for about 6 months now, coming from the field office in Atlanta, Georgia. And I have great background with the 8A program and the Mentor-protege program. So I'm excited to talk about the new program. And as Karen mentioned, you should seek after all of the certifications that are applicable to your business. So, the more you have, the broader the pool of contracting opportunities exist. So you certainly want to do that. And the majority of them are self-certifying. And by self-certifying, I mean that you can go into your SAMS database, into that profile, and self-certify that you are small, number one, SDB, small disadvantaged business, number two, woman-owned, economically disadvantaged woman-owned, and service disabled veteran-owned. 8A and HubZone, you must apply to SBA in order to receive that designation. So we can go to the next slide, please. The All Small Mentor-protege program was created through the Small Business Job Act of 2010, as well as the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, in fiscal year 13. And so SBA had implemented, or has finally implemented, the ruling of the NDAA in October 2016. That gave the agencies the authority to establish the Mentor-protege program. And rather than creating individual, I'm going to say for Mentor-protege program, I'm going to use the acronym MPP. Of course, that comes with government lingo, but as opposed to having multiple mentor-protege programs, they were combined into one, the All Small, and that represents all small businesses, to include those socioeconomic categories of service disabled, veteran-owned, women-owned, HubZone. And 8A has its own mentor-protege program. And so the rule was published in July 25, 2016, became effective August. Can we go to the next slide, please? It became effective August 24, 2016, and the official launch date for the All Small program was October the 1st, 2016.
While you're going to the next slide, we have a lot of questions that are coming in asking for a copy of the presentation and the slides. And as Janine mentioned when we started, the link to this webinar will be sent out to everyone later tonight, and a copy of the slides and presentation will be posted on the DC Score website. And again, we'll cover that at the end so that you know how to access that. All right, thank you.
So the purpose of the program is to enhance the capabilities of the protege firms by requiring approved mentors to provide business development assistance. So the overall intent of the program is business development on behalf of the protege. So the program is open to all small businesses, even though those 8A firms that are currently active and certified in the 8A program can also, they have the option to apply to the All Small Mentor-protege program, or to apply through their local district office VOS through the 8A Mentor-protege program. So if you are an active 8A business with an existing mentor-protege agreement, an MPA, we can go to the next slide, please. You can transfer that relationship to the All Small Mentor-protege program. If you are an active 8A certified firm with an existing mentor-protege agreement, you can come into the program as a transfer. If you're an 8A firm without an existing mentor-protege agreement, then you would apply to the program. And the regulations that govern the All Small Mentor-protege program is 13 CFR 125.9. And the 13 CFR 124.520 governs the 8A Mentor-protege program. Next slide, please. So the eligibility requirement, the prospective protege must be a for-profit business or an agricultural cooperative. So, and you must be small in the NAICS code in which you are applying to the program. You must register in the SAMS database, System for Award Management. In fact, any business that is interested in doing business with the federal government must be registered in that database. So you must be registered in the SAM database prior to submitting your application to the All Small Mentor-protege program. The protege must have a mentor before submitting their application. It's not a matching program. You come to the program with a mentor. And it's important to do your due diligence and to research and ensure that the mentor that you are going into business with is a fit for your business, for your the culture of your business. The protege is limited to having 2 SBA approved mentor protege agreements over its lifetime. So it would be important to be strategic about who your mentor is and when you apply to the program. You can only have 2 MPA agreements during your lifetime. So that could be 2 all small mentor protege relationships. It could be 2 8A mentor protege relationships. It could be an all small and an 8A mentor protege arrangement, but 2 over the lifetime. So that's important to know. And it's important to be strategic about who your mentor is and when it is the right time to apply to the program.
So I think, Joanne, one of the things that people come to SCORE and ask is that can we match them up with a mentor? And the answer is actually no, and neither can SBA.
Correct.
Finding a mentor would be the obligation of the small business. And to your point, it needs to be, in some ways, it's like a marriage. It has to be somebody that you can learn from. They want you as the protege. You're in similar lines of business, that combining forces can help both of you achieve success in the federal marketplace. But there is a lot of misconception that whether it's SCORE or SBA, that you're going to do the match. And that is not what this program is about at all. Right. The small business with the mentor company come together in the application process.
Absolutely.
And so finding that business is through your professional relationships. It's with companies that you work with. It's at networking events where maybe large businesses are looking for small businesses. But when you come to SBA, it's the 2 of you together. It's not a matchmaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. That's a great point. And so there are some tools that can help you in assessing who a mentor may be. Just quickly, there is a federal procurement data system that's a public database that lists those businesses that are doing business with the government. So that could be a tool that you utilize to help assess who the business is, who the mentor would be. You have the dynamic small business search. And of course, you have other, Google searches, and you want to look at their websites as well. And you want to make sure that they are, that the arrangement aligns with the goals and objectives that are outlined in your business plan. So the protege must have a mentor prior to applying to the program. You must have, as a small business, as the protege, you must have previous experience working in the industry code in which you are seeking assistance. So as you know, all industry codes are given a number. And if you don't know it's called NAICS code, North American Industrial Classification System represents NAICS code. So that is the source that the federal government used to identify varying industries. So if you do not know the NAICS code for your portfolio of services, and you will have both a primary and secondary, because no one business just have one NAICS code, you can go to naics.gov or com. I don't remember at the moment, but naics.gov. And enter keywords that describe what you do, and it will bring up lists of industry codes. So you must identify and know your NAICS codes. And so you have to have experience in the NAICS code in which you are applying to the program. Whether it's your primary or secondary, if you apply in your secondary NAICS code and you do not have experience, we will ask that you provide documentation to support that you have experience in your secondary NAICS code. And if you cannot produce that, then the application will be declined, because by regulation, you must have experience in the industry codes in which you are applying to the program. The mentor must be organized for profit, and they can own up to 40% of the small business, have equity in the protege's business. The SBA has not made a determination of affiliation between the protege and the mentor. And if that exists, you would know that as the protege and as a small business. The protege can only have one mentor at a time and cannot have more than 2 mentors across SBA approved mentor-protege programs. I mentioned that a little earlier. And mentors may not have more than 3 proteges. The SBA may authorize a small business to be both a mentor and a protege, but only if you can demonstrate that the second relationship does not compete or conflict with the other relationship. So how do you apply?
Just a couple of things. I mean, I think what's real important is everyone probably on this phone would love to have Lockheed Martin, the largest contractor in the world, as their mentor. But as Joanne said, large businesses that can only have 3. And if any of you kind of track this space, some of the large companies have already announced through press releases that they have entered into the formal all small mentor protege program with a protege. So don't really think about those large, kind of tier 1 primes. Think about more of the mid-sized companies where you have that symbiotic relationship, you share NAICS codes, and you can work well with them.
So again, in order to apply, you must be registered in the SAM database. The All Small Mentor Protege program is an online tool. It's an online database, and you would go to certified.sba.gov to complete your profile, upload the designated information, and apply to the program. And once it's in that queue, it is assigned to one of the business analysts to review and process. Evaluate and select your mentor, again, prior to applying. Begin the all small application process through certified.sba.gov. Proteges and mentors must complete an online tutorial and have the certificate ready at the time of application to upload into the portal, and then have any other required documents ready to upload as well.
And you'll recall when we did our Women-Owned Small Business Certification webinar last month, we heard from SBA about the certified.sba.gov. It's the same website for both the certification process for women-owned small business and for this all small mentor protege program. So kind of one-stop shopping.
Right. And the design is to be just that. 8A is to be incorporated into this certified.sba.gov as well as the Hub Zone application process. So it's going to be a portal for all of the certification programs. Next slide, please. So here I wanted to make mention that if you go to www.sba.gov/ you can do GC for government contracting, you can do all small MPP, and it will bring you to this area under the government contracting programs header. You will see the all small mentor protege as the last item there. That's where you would click to find out all of the information about the All Small Mentor Protege program. Next slide, please. And the next slide will show the actual All Small landing page. And so to the left of that is where what you would see, there's another section that we've added to the website called resources. And there we have posted our approved list of mentors and proteges up to this point. We have, as of today, we have a total of 115 approved applications. And that we have a breakdown actually in terms of the social economic categories. The number one category being service disabled veteran-owned small businesses, then small, and then followed by 8A as the top three categories. So this is the month of celebrating women, and so this is an opportunity for women-owned small businesses as well. And so you want to capitalize on the opportunities of doing business with the government. And so, as I mentioned, it's an online portal, certified.sba.gov. There's no paper, and the program will not find a mentor for you. And there is our link, sba.gov/allsmallmpp. Next page, please. That's just a visual for you to get a perspective of certified.sba.gov. You'd have to log in, and there will list new features and am I eligible and upcoming activities as well. Next slide, please. And at sba.gov, under the Learning Center is where you will find the tutorial that is required, where you would print out your certificate that's required to be uploaded as a part of your application. So when you go to the Learning Center, the top, the first, the first tutorial, the first class that you will see is the SBA's All Small Mentor Protege program. So you would click on the Go To course and you will complete the tutorial and print out, sign your name and print out the certificate and include that as part of your application. Next slide, please.
Joanne, what has been your experience? You mentioned you have 115 that have been approved thus far. What's your experience from the time that someone applies till they get the SBA approval? Is it weeks or months? Or does it depend?
It depends, and it depends on how complete the application is. So if it is a complete application and there's nothing further to request, or it doesn't have to go through legal for any clarifications of anything, then we usually can approve it within 5 to 8 days. And if it requires more information, then it takes a little longer than that.
Okay, but that's a pretty fast process.
Yeah, that's an awesome time.
I know.
You cannot get that in the government. That's an awesome time. That's an awesome window. So the kind of assistance that you can request, there are 2, 4, 6. There's 6 categories. They fall under the area management and technical assistance, financial assistance, contracting assistance, international trade education, business development, and general or administrative assistance. And so it could be all of them or one of them, 2 of them. It doesn't have to include your mentor-protege agreement does not have to address every area of assistance that is listed there. Is to be customized to the goals and objectives that are outlined in your business plan, or what it is in your, what it is you are attempting to do with the business. And so it also provides here a list of the kind of type of assistance that would fall under those categories, but it will be unique to whatever your need may be. And I would like to mention that international trade education is specifically for international trade related type assistance that if you're interested in learning how to export or strategically planning or finding markets in an international marketplace. So it's not trade education for your industry, it's international trade. And so you can select 1, 2, 3, or whatever the appropriate fit is for your goals and objectives. Next slide, please. So there are many benefits of the All Small program, All Small Mentor-Protege program. One of the most tangible benefit is the exclusion from affiliation. And affiliation comes into play if you have, like Karen mentioned, everyone may want, a Lockheed Martin or Booz Allen Hamilton as their mentor. And so that they are a large business. And so that would immediately put them outside of the realm of being eligible for, we saw that chart, I think, of $447 billion that was allocated to small business in fiscal year, was that 15, 16 or so? So, of course, they want some of that $447 billion, but they would be ineligible to go after those contract opportunities because they are outside of the category of small. So by collaborating with small businesses, they can benefit from the exclusion of affiliation, whereby with an approved SBA mentor-protege agreement, whether it's all small or 8A, it would make that collaboration small. So the large business gets exclusion, or the small business gets exclusion from affiliation, allowing the two to do business as a small business. So that is huge, but I do want to read what's on the slide here. So what is an exclusion from affiliation? To better understand this concept and the benefit, it's important to understand how federal set-aside contracts are bid on and awarded. When a federal set-aside contract is made available, qualifying businesses, in this case small, can bid on the contract. If the small business lacks the capacity required in the contract, they can even enter a joint venture with another small business to supplement their capacity and bid on the contract together. With an exclusion from affiliation, a qualifying small business can enter a joint venture agreement with a business of any size. That is, if SBA approves the MPA, the mentor-protege agreement, you and your mentor may joint venture for any small business set aside that the protege qualified, regardless of your mentor size. So just the last bit on that, if your mentor is large and you are small, you form a mentor-protege arrangement approved by SBA, then you and your mentor are eligible to bid on any small contract that you, the small business, the protege, is eligible for. So that could be small, that could be hub zone, that could be service disabled veteran, that could be women owned, that could be 8A.
So a lot of you have asked the question, what's the advantage for the mentor? And I think Joanne just explained it. 23% of every federal dollar is set aside for small business. Currently, a Booz Allen, a Lockheed, and Northrop are unable to participate on those set-aside programs. By having an approved SBA mentor-protege relationship, the two companies together can bid on that small procurement. And the key is there's no finding of affiliation, which can happen if you don't have an approved mentor-protege relationship. So that's the advantage to the large business. Obviously, the advantage to the small business is that, they have a lot of capabilities, they have a lot of reach back, and will be more successful, presumably, in the performance of that contract. So Absolutely. There are advantages for both the mentor and for the protege.
Absolutely. Next slide, please. So the program is centrally headquartered here in the Washington headquartered office, as opposed to the 8A distributive model. And by that, the 8A model is carried out at the district levels in every state, only for the 8A certified firms, and they would go through their BOS. The All Small Mentor-Protege program is carried out here in the headquarters by our staff here, the All Small team. It's an online application, again, certified.sba.gov. The online course tutorial is required, and there is an annual review and evaluation phase of the program. There's template agreements. There's an MPA template agreement on our webpage. And the capacity for where this can go at this juncture is unknown, but it is a huge tool and a huge program. So some of the highlights, again, just want to reiterate that the protege may generally have one mentor at a time. SBA may approve a second where no competition exists. So two maximum over your lifetime. Both the protege and the mentor must be for profit. The mentor no more than 3 proteges at a time. A participant can be both a mentor and a protege, provided that there is no competition or conflict, and they can carry out those areas of assistance. It's self-certifying. As a small business, you do that through sam.gov. And SBA will not authorize MPAs in secondary NAICS code. So again, you must have experience and be able to demonstrate that in your secondary NAICS code. Existing 8A firms, in their last 6 months of the program with an existing MPA can transfer into the program into the All Small Mentor Protege program by just providing a copy of their MPA agreement and their letter, last annual review letter. They still have to create a profile in certified.gov, but you do not have to go through the entire application process. There's no requiring, there's a requirement you upload your business plan. No financial statements or tax returns are part of the application. The All Small Mentor Protege program, we do not review joint venture agreements. That is done as a part of the award, the contracting phase of the acquisition cycle, and the contracting or the procuring agency reviews those joint venture agreements at the time of processing that award. Next slide, please.
So before we actually go on, a lot of you have had questions, and I think Joanne just really covered. Janine, can you go back one slide? All right, so some of the highlights, a lot of the questions coming in have been asking these very items. As Joanne has mentioned, proteges generally have one mentor at a time with a maximum of 2 in their lifetime. They have to be approved by SBA. The mentor, the corporate mentor, the corporation, not offices in any given state or county, but the corporation itself can only have 3 mentor proteges agreements. So again, using Lockheed Martin, which is in all 50 states, they can't have 50 mentor protege agreements. They can only have 3. Joanne also talked about the self-certification. You must be doing business in your primary NAICS code. That's another question that came in. And you talked about the 8A. Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Okay, next slide.
Next slide, please.
So I just want to briefly kind of go over this chart with you, and you'll get a copy so you can do that. But the first column speaks to a protege and their who is a small business, and underneath the protege it says mentor. OTS is other than small. So, but primarily the focus is on the protege. So in the first column, the protege is small. The second column, the protege is an 8A small business. And the third column, the protege represents the other social economic categories: HUBZone, service disabled, veteran-owned, economic disadvantaged, woman-owned small business. So it just kind of gives you the reference to the regulations that governs that, and it lets you know that all of these small businesses are eligible to apply to the All Small program. All of these small businesses are eligible to form joint ventures. They're eligible to bid small. Under the small column, the first column, box number 3, eligible to bid small business set-asides only, because that is the designation of the business. The business only has the business only has the designation of being small. If you look at the 8A column, then that arrangement is eligible to bid small business as well as 8A sole source and 8A competitive, set-asides only. If you look at the third column under Hub Zone Service Disabled, they are eligible to bid small, Hub Zone Service Disabled, economic disadvantaged women on self. So whatever the protege is, it takes on the form of the joint venture. So the joint venture can bid on whatever the protege is. So I just want to make reference to that. And if under the column of an 8A, currently the 8A local district office and every 8A business is assigned a business opportunity specialist in their district office, that person still reviews 8A joint ventures. All Small does not review any joint ventures, but if the applicant comes through All Small, a Mentor-protege program, and forms a joint venture and is seeking after an 8A sole source or a competitive contract, then the local district office will review that joint venture. Okay, that's what I kind of wanted to make mention of there. Next slide, please. So here's some suggestions on, identifying a mentor and how to go about doing that. And of course, research is key. And you want to make sure that they have a good reputation and are willing and able to coach and mentor you, and that, it's a fit and that you're able to have like mind. That is important. Verify that the mentor is not just looking for access to federal contract, but it really is have an interest in the business development of the protege, because this really is about the development of the protege. And do they have good supplier relationships? Do they have experience working with the federal government? Be clear about the goals and objectives that are outlined in the agreement, as well as in your business plan, that you both are going in the same direction, and make sure it fits with what you have mapped out in the direction that you're seeking to go. Next slide, please.
But this is, I think, for many of you on the call, again, looking at the questions, how to find a good mentor is the research that you have to start. Looking at perhaps a federal contractor that's in your geographic area. Joanne mentioned the Federal Procurement Data System, fpds.gov, to see who's getting what awards. There's another federal website, usaspending.gov, which lists, you can even sort by county to see who in your county in your NAICS code is getting contract awards and potentially approach them. But before you can even think about applying, it's finding a company of like mind. I think that's true in your NAICS code that wants to mentor you. You see benefits in entering into a relationship with them, but it's really doing that market research to identify the right company. That's the legwork that needs to happen before you go through the process that Joanne's articulating on how to actually apply company and entering into that relationship, so it's a win-win for both companies.
And, there lists some excellent resources that are available to you. A lot of time there are free resources that are available to you. So as a small business, you certainly want to take advantage of that. You have SCORE, you have small business development centers, Whitman business centers, and of course your district offices, federal contracting, PTACs, procurement technical assistance centers. They're a great resource for you, as well as SBA Learning Center, which is an online source for you. So next slide, please. If you want to contact us, have questions, we can be reached at allsmallmpp@sba.gov. That is a mailbox that is handled and responded to daily throughout the day. So you will get, we pride ourselves on customer service, so you will get a response to your email. And our website is sba.gov/allsmall.mpp.
So before we leave that slide, because several of you are asking for that email address, you will get it tonight when you get a copy of this webinar, but so that you don't have to go to slide 28 of 33, again, the website or the email address to get to Joanne and the team, all small MPP at sba.gov. Okay.
Next slide, please.
Okay, so some of the next steps. As we heard, the first thing that needs to happen is that the small business needs to be registered in the SAM database. That's the System for Award Management, sam.gov. To get registered, you have to have your employer identification number, also known as your tax ID number. You must have a DUNS number, and you must know your NAICS code. We've used that acronym several times today. Every business has at least one NAICS code. And you can find that NAICS code. The Census Bureau maintains them all. And there's the website and the link to find your NAICS code. As Joanne mentioned, it's searchable. You put in some keywords to help you identify what your NAICS code is. So once you have your primary NAICS code, that's when you can start looking for mentors that sell in that primary NAICS code so that you are of like mind. As part of that SAM registration process, determine which small business program set-aside eligibility your firm has. Is it a small business? Yes or no? Is it a woman-owned small business? Is it in a hub zone? There are many different socioeconomic categories, and as you're registering in SAM, many of those are self-certification. Then begin your market research. Identify federal agencies and prime contractors who buy what you sell. And I'll mention again those two websites that are great for research. One is usaspending.gov, and the second one is fpds.gov, Federal Procurement Data System.gov. Those two federally sponsored websites are an excellent place to start research. Next slide, please. So questions. We've received a lot, and we'll continue to look at all the questions that are coming in. We received from Joanne the email address for the All Small Mentor-protege program. Questions can be submitted there. You can also email me at karen.williams@scorevolunteer.org. And my email address was at the beginning of the presentation, and it'll be shown on the last slide as well. As Joanne mentioned, you can contact SCORE and request a mentor. We're people, not companies. Like I'm a mentor with expertise in the federal market. We have many mentors who do understand the federal marketplace. You can request a mentor at www.score.org, and we can help you navigate through the certification process, through the two websites that I mentored to identify companies who do sell into the federal market in your primary NAICS code. And you can request a mentor either online or by calling our DC SCORE office, and the phone number is posted there. All right, and our last slide before we go to questions is that you can submit questions to me. There's my email address. You can submit questions into SBA, and there is a copy of the email address for them. And finally, as we've mentioned before, a copy of this webinar will be posted on the DC SCORE website, and you will receive a copy to the link tonight that Janine will send out to you. And so with that, we will now start to look at some of the questions that have come in. So actually, let me ask you one, Joanne. Is a separate joint venture agreement required each time the mentor and the protege want to submit a bid? Do they need to get approval from anyone within SBA?
No, we do not approve joint ventures. And so
there's confusion with 8A.
MPA, the mentor-protege agreement, and a joint venture is two separate lanes. So there's two separate items. If your mentor is large, then you must have an approved mentor-protege agreement. because that is the only way that the joint venture will be excluded from affiliation. Otherwise, your joint venture would be large and uneligible to bid small. So if it is a 8A contract opportunity that you are seeking, then the local district office will review and approve the joint ventures. If it's non-8A, that is part of the acquisition cycle, and the contracting office will review the joint venture as part of the proposal package.
So you mentioned that there's an annual review process. And I know we haven't come up on that year yet because the program just rolled out in October.
Right.
What will you look at as part of that review? Just that the relationship is still in existence, or? Yeah,
that's what we as a team are developing still.
Right, it's still months away.
Yeah, we're working on that. But yeah, we will look to see that that they still meet the eligibility requirement, that the mentor is providing the assistance that is outlined. If a joint venture had been formed, we'll look at the joint venture activity and to kind of assess and see what the joint venture is doing.
Here's an interesting question. Can the joint venture be populated or unpopulated? Do you have a?
Well, yeah, that's old language. The new rules, which probably has been published within the last 6 to 12 months or so, eliminated the populated joint venture. So now only unpopulated joint ventures exist, and that is where both parties are like subcontractors. Each JV partner will provide its own employees and its own resources. So the populated has been removed, and currently only the unpopulated is in the regulation at this point.
Great. At this time, Janine, I know that you've been monitoring all of the questions that have been coming in. We have a couple of minutes still. If you want to kind of parse through those questions and ask either Joanne or myself any of those.
Okay, this will be speed questions. I'm trying to go back to earlier. One question is the program only in DC? How do we find a mentor?
No, it's nationwide. You can apply anywhere in the U.S.
Okay.
You would apply through the same process, certified.sba.gov.
Right.
Okay.
So this is a national SBA initiative. The district is the beneficiary because we're here in DC, but this is available nationwide.
Okay. Next one, is there a database of the potential mentors? I don't know if you answered that earlier.
Yeah, the answer is no. And I know many people are looking for either SBA or even for SCORE to match them up. This is not a matchmaking opportunity. The small business needs to do their market research and then approach a company and ask them if they would be willing to be their mentor.
Okay. Another question is the program for U.S. citizens only?
Yes.
Okay. Another question, is there a dollar amount cap that the mentor-protege program must stay under?
No, there's no dollar funding associated with the All Small Mentor-protege program.
Okay. If an ASMPP MPA has been approved, where to submit the joint venture agreement for approval?
The All Small Mentor-protege program does not review or approve joint venture agreements. So that would not come to anywhere for review or approval. If it's an 8A joint venture, it would go to the local district office BOS. But the joint venture will be included as a part of the proposal, and the contracting office will review that joint venture as they are assessing the bids that have come in on that solicitation.
Another question is corporate experience all that counts, or can owner experience count?
All experience counts.
Okay. In order to pick a mentor, do both companies need to have an existing working relationship?
In order to pick a mentor, does both companies need to have a...
I think the answer is no. They
Right.
don't have to have, one doesn't have to be a current subcontractor to the other or vice versa. But there has to be agreement, because they both sign on, that the mentor company wants to provide that mentoring relationship to the small business, and the small business has to say, I need help in some area. So the two parties don't have to today have a working relationship, but they have to come to an agreement to jointly submit into the mentor-protege program. But no, they do not have to have an existing working relationship to apply.
Okay, the next question, is this program time restricted? While the proteges can only have 2 mentors, can proteges change mentors if the goals and objectives are not being met?
Not at this time. So it's important to kind of, as I mentioned, be strategic about who you enter into the relationship with, because at this time, once you're approved, that serves as one of your slots.
Okay. Next question, does the mentor company need to own a certain part of your business? Can a partnership not exist with the protege owning 100% of their company and just forming an alliance to do business under the mentor-protege program?
Well, no, the mentor does not have to own 40% of the business. That's an option that is...
That's a maximum that they could own.
Right. That's an option that is discussed between the protege and the mentor. And if there is some equity exchange there, then it cannot exceed 40%, but they do not have to. The protege can own 100% of its business and still enter into a mentor-protege arrangement.
Okay. Another question is, can I come to your office for your help with the application? This is great information about how do I get an appointment?
So I would suggest, I was going to say, I don't think anyone here around this table from SBA is going to take individual appointments. But if you would like to have your application reviewed, we mentioned some of the resources, women's business centers, small business development centers, and of course the DC SCORE office. So you can make an appointment with any of the SBA's resource partners, and we would be happy to work with you to review your mentor-protege application to make sure that before it gets submitted, that we don't see any glaring errors, and that you and your mentor company have thought through it and come to an agreement on what you do. Also, the DCP TAC, another one of SBA's resource partners, is available. So there are a lot of resource partners available to help. But I don't think that if you call up Joanne, you don't have the time to be able to meet with people.
Okay. And there's a few more questions because I know we're coming close to ending. Other than not having submitted sufficient information, are there any other reasons for an application not being approved?
No, that's primarily it. The eligibility requirements or failure to respond to additional information requests are the primary reasons for the applications being declined.
Okay.
How about questions I've gotten? I'll interrupt you for a second, Janine. One of the questions I've got as a SCORE mentor has to do with the business plan that gets submitted. Does it have to be a 20-page business plan? Are you okay with 10 pages? Do you have any hard and fast requirement, or just that you cover what both parties are looking for in that relationship?
Yeah, we do not have a required format. And so we review the business plan based just for overall flow and consistency, what the objectives and goals are of the protege. And so as long as that is in the content of it, and what the direction that they're going. That's what we look at.
Good, meets the objective.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, wait, one more question, and I guess that would be it. Is that okay?
Yeah,
We have a lot. If a protege is 8A and WOSB, if it forms an all small MPP, will the MPP be eligible for both 8A and WOSB set asides, or should the protege form an 8A and all small separately?
Well, the answer is yes. The joint venture would be eligible for small business set-asides, 8A set-asides, economic disadvantaged women-owned set-asides, and women-owned small business set-asides. So all of those 4 categories would be applied to that joint venture.
and with that, we have 1 o'clock. As mentioned previously, a copy of this webinar will be sent out to everyone that registered. Even if you actually did not call in, we'll send out that link. And it is available probably later this week. It will be posted at washingtondc.score.org. And we thank everyone for their participation. And Joanne, thank you so much for educating us on this new program.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Janine.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.